All right, so you and Darnell meet. Y'all was actually roommates. So how the hell the group start, though? It's only two of y'all. It was four of y'all total.
So what happened was, okay, so me and Darnell, we just like hit it off as soon as we met. 17 years old. He was in the marching band. He was literally like Nick Cannon from Drumline, except he played the trumpet. He was like the superstar freshman in the band, making up all the band. He was making up all the band's Howard's dance routines and everything as a freshman. He was one of them kind of freshmen that they couldn't control but for the Eastside High School band he came from was one of the best high school bands in the country, out better than most college bands. So he came from that. So when he got to Howard, he was like Nick Cannon from Drumline. He was just too much to handle. He was already number one in the trumpets, the first chair for the, he was battling for that immediately. And he was the dopest dancer. So he was making up the steps. They had to tone him down. He was always in beefs with the head dudes because they was taking certain moves away from what he had choreographed. He was just like Nick Cannon. It was the same. And it's ironic that Nick ended up coming back to Howard to go to school, but big goes to Nick. But yeah, no, Darnell ended up joining Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And the other two guys are Alphas. And that bond, those three, Darnell and the dude Carl, who wrote the lyrics to If I Ever and sings the first verse, they had a little group called Beta, because it's Beta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity at Howard. They were like a songwriter production team thing. They were probably trying to get songs placed, but there was a big talent show coming up. And so Mark Gay, which was another Alpha from their fraternity, was with plus two other Alphas. It was like 5 Alphas practicing for this show. This big show at Howard that happened every year. It was like the Apollo. People loved to come and like literally come just to boo people, no matter if they was good or not. They just wanted to come, get some drinking system and come boo something. Like it was like a thing. The New York type crowd, they want to come boo something.
Right.
Like the Apollo. But the artist was like all the artists that was at that show ended up getting signed to a record deal. Anyway, Shy was on that show. And we did some Boys to Men songs. But 2 of the Alphas quit before the show came, and I had been coming to the practices every day for like 4 months, 8 hours a day. And Darnell was like, yo, we only got 3-part harmony now, man. Like you been here every day. The other 2 dudes, they ain't showing up.
You
man.
was singing with them?
Yeah, I was just chilling. And I happened to reconnect with Darnell after we had kind of grown apart and been doing life, and he pledged, and I went through my little political stuff that I did, and we started hanging real tough again as friends. And so I started hanging out with him, and what he was into these days when I hooked back up with him and this dude named Carl had this group, and these Alphas, they was practicing for this talent show. And I was just like, my dad had claimed me on his taxes. I had gotten married, but my dad claimed me on his taxes. And so I had to forfeit my financial aid at Howard, but I still had my housing. So I was working as a temp just to make some ends meet while I got my school stuff squared back away. And in the meantime, when I didn't get a job for the temp agency, I would just kick it with D all day at the Fine Arts Building while his group was practicing for this show. That's what it was for like 4 months, for 7-6 hours a day. And then finally, when they quit, it was like maybe 3 days before the show, D was like, yo, G, man, you been here every day. I know you know some of these parts, man. We need a 4th for the 4-part harmony. Like the dudes quit, man. We need at least 4-part harmony. We can't do the 3. I was like, nah, I do the bass. I remember the bass, you know what I'm saying? Because we was doing the Boys and Men songs. We was doing Please Don't Go Away. I think we did End of the Road or something. And then after that, If I Ever in Comforter and was another one. Those were our practice songs or whatever. So Comforter Baby, I'm Yours, and If I Ever, we wrote those to kind of like practice our vocals and holding our harmonies, and hopefully maybe get them placed one day or something. But really, we counted on that to get our chops right for live singing, because they made us do certain things. So anyway, we went out there, man. I went up there with them. They didn't boo us. That was a victory. We went on stage without getting booed. We won. But they gave us an encore.
The Baby Apollo.
Man, they gave us an encore on top of our bonus. They messed around and gave us an encore. So we had to come out, and we didn't know what the hell we was going to sing. We had a DAT with all our songs, the Boys and Men songs that we had just performed on a little DAT, the instrumentals. We didn't have no more songs on the DAT. We was like, what we going to do? They wanted to hear it. So yeah, I was like, y'all want to do our practice joint to If I Ever? We was like, all right. So we got out there, with the snaps. Ooh, da doo doo. Then harmony, ooh, da, doo, doo. And we was doing this chorus, and by the time the hook came around the second time, even the Hard Rocks was like singing the chorus like they already knew that song. And that's when we was like, yo, if the Hard Rocks in the audience singing, and we was like, yo, people like this song. We need to go try to get a deal. And just as fate would have it, we pursued it in New York. We got dissed by all the labels in New York. When we came back to DC, the record radio station WPGC we gave them a little demo of it at their, you know, how the community, remember how the baseball on the radio stations would play against the community, like a baseball, they get their members and they go in some community and play a softball game against the community.
Right.
It was one of them deals, and they had portable radio station things set up, Paco Lopez, and we gave him my tape, and he entered it into the home jams. They had a little home jams thing. But it kind of, people forget, it kind of went into regular rotation before when it even, like the home jams, yeah, but it went into regular rotation quick because it kept getting requests and it was blowing up. And because it had all those sister stations, because PGC was like a number one, like a P1, all the P2 and P3 sister stations that copy they played as allowed us to start charting before we got a record deal because we was getting so much airplay before we even got signed. And that really, really pushed the label MCA's hand to go ahead and sign us up. Because we had kind of solved a couple of problems in advance for them. Like we was already getting spins on radio. And so, you know, when they signed us, that was, you know, that meant that they wouldn't have to put so much money out coming from a business.
Right. To get the promotion and stuff like that to actually move it.
That on the front end.
When you're doing stuff like that, though, like you're getting radio play and stuff, where you getting paid for spins with that before the deal?
Yeah, because we wrote the songs. We wrote about, we were lucky and fortunate enough because we had a hit song. The record label was like, they didn't want to sell the single for $9.99. They wanted to be able to sell that single on an album for $20. So they pressed like, yo, hurry up and just do something. They tried to put us with people at first, and it wasn't working because we was bumping heads. And then they was like, okay, well, y'all got 2 weeks. So we had to record an album in 2 weeks. Luckily, we already had Comforter, Baby I'm Yours, and a couple of other songs that we had been doing a cappella. We just put it to music and made, you know, that's how you get Comforter and, you know, the Baby I'm Yours on that album changes a couple of different things, Together Forever. And so all of these songs were stuff that we had already brought to the table. The label had no idea we had that. They didn't care. They just wanted If I Ever to be a part of an album that they could sell that unit for $20. And so we got lucky because we did have a couple of quality joints that we got a chance to write and put on our own album. Now we get to still eat off of that. Like we get royalty payments for that. So yes, we had a rookie deal with our label, like all rookies do. But as a rookie deal, ours was a little better than most rookie deals. So we didn't get completely robbed, but we didn't get to do stuff like own our masters either. But for a first deal, we had a cool deal, better than most. And then we got to redo our deal really quick. We were signed to Flavor Unit Records, Queen Latifah's management company, and Shakim, who was an excellent shark when it came to making a deal with the labels. They feared him. And
I've heard.
And he knew exactly the numbers to talk about. And he knew how to bluff them. He was just incredible. Like they need to do a documentary on Shakim's deal making experience. Like he had them shook. He would come out there whatever he wanted. So we hired him to kind of do our deal for us. And for what we was dealing with right then and the leverage we had, he got us a really good deal for our second album and everything. So yeah, we was just, lucky to fall in certain positions along the way. But that was pretty much how it went down. Yep.
That's dope. It's crazy how quick. So the deal came quick. It wasn't really like, especially with Chip Part. I mean, because I don't know how long they were together as the Betas. You feel me? But your entry to the group and the deal.
Yeah, we only did that one show. That was the only show we ever did before we got a record deal. We practiced like 6 hours, 7 hours a day as if we was practicing for a show or something that we would never do. We would just practice like that for hours every day in the Fine Arts building downstairs for about 5 or 6 hours for months at a time. And so when we finally got our record deal or finally started going to these labels and they started saying sing on demand, our harmonies were so tight and everything, our blend was so crazy because we practiced that. We was pros at that by then. And we had our own repertoire of songs instead of trying to sing cover songs of other people and people comparing us to what the original sound like. We had our own dope original songs that people gave a F enough to want to listen to because it was kind of like, oh, this kind of catchy, this If I Ever thing. We listen to it some more. And this Comforter song is kind of, Comforter acapella is crazy. Like when we used to perform these songs, Baby I'm Yours acapella is just like Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. It's the same chords. Let's get it on. It's Marvin Gaye. Sugar, but that little thing they made us put in it, that little pop sound and all that. I hated that version, but the original version with the piano, where it sounds just like Marvin Gaye.
You're right. Now I'm thinking about it.
That song used to be crazy in that style when we used to sing it like that. I used to love Baby I'm Yours when it was like that. But wow. We knew we had we knew we had a couple little joints with us, and we knew we had a little talent in terms of writing. We were Howard educated dudes, and you know, we felt like we could write a song, you know what I mean? At least make it coherent. But, you know, in our naivety, you know, that's way more than that it takes to get a hit. But we thought we had the ingredients in our naivety, but we messed around and did that.